Welcome back to Morning Manna. Today, we explore Jonah's surprising reaction during the storm. Spoiler alert, he was asleep. Don't take my word for it. Verse 5 of Jonah chapter 1 says, "Then the mariners were afraid, and each cried out to his God, and they hurled the cargo that was in the ship into the sea to lighten it for them. But Jonah had gone down into the inner part of the ship and had lain down and was fast asleep. So the captain came and said to him, 'What do you mean, you sleeper? Arise, call out to your God. Perhaps the God will give a thought to us that we may not perish.'" See, the sailors are panicking. Jonah's asleep in the ship. The captain's question is basically, how can you sleep at a time like this? It's a question we need to ask ourselves. In the middle of life storms, are we asleep? Indifferent to what's going on around us, to the needs around us. Jonah's sleep wasn't just a physical state. It was symbolic of his spiritual condition. He was disconnected from God's purpose and indifferent to the peril facing those around him, and definitely indifferent to the peril of those in Nineveh. The sailors, they were in a desperate situation, and Jonah, he was the one who had the connection to the true God, and Jonah was asleep, indifferent. It's a sobering reminder of how we can become desensitized to the needs of those around us when we are focused on our own issues or when we are running from God. We must ask ourselves, are we spiritually asleep when the world needs us to be awake and alert right now? Listen, if you're a Christ follower, the world looks to you in a time of crisis. Your friends look to you when everything around goes dark. It's one thing to have a faith and to trust in God. That's a great thing. But I think it's terribly unloving to pretend like we aren't in the middle of some storms too. How can we sleep when people need hope? How can we sleep when we have access to God through prayer? We should be hope dealers in times of darkness, because sometimes the storm we're in is actually a second chance. Are you spiritually asleep in a storm that requires your attention? I think it's time for all of us to wake up, seek God's purpose, even in the middle of chaos. See you tomorrow.